Again. Okay, big shot. Swimming through the riptides from the cliff, but I got love on the twip side. Moves of the day, no rules, just play. Go against me and you'll be losing the day. Moves on the bean, all I do is fillet. Beast need a feast, about to go and got a steak. Lyrics on homie, might go and cop a case. Going with no trace, go get the caution tape. I got sauce in my veins, no flaws in my game. Deep sea thoughts get lost in my brain. I done broke up out the cage. Yeah, I'm the lion untamed. I am the answer, I am the answer. Not for the banter, I am like Sanders, Deanna Berry. You do not scare me.
I am the answer, I am the answer. Not for the banter, I am like Sanders, Deanna Berry.
So the Olympics was really exciting for me this year. I tuned in and out of different things that I wanted to tune in and out of. I rarely ever watch full basketball games, even through the season. Secret, cats out the bag, whatever. So some of y'all will be like, oh, how's he giving all this basketball commentary? I don't have to watch a full game from start to finish every single time. I don't think it is even reasonable, nor do I think basketball in the grand scheme of life. Now, I think it's useful. On the last episode of Fresh Perspective Podcast, we talked about the importance of a coach. We brought up Coach RB and how they tried to take his job. They ended up letting him stay in the position, and rightfully so. He earned it. He's improved that program. He's had several success stories out of it, whether it be Del Val championships or playoff appearances and players being at the top of the scoring list of the school and things like that. He was a player at the school, so there you go. He's an alumni of the Academy Park, and so there's that. He's a community member. He's tapped in. He coaches flag football for Darby Township Eagles. Shout out to the Darby Township Eagles. I know they just got started within the last week as far as camp goes, and the season will be underway pretty soon. So shout out to y'all. One of the things that I guess I can say now is that I mentioned how I never played football down there. It's one of the things I wanted to do. Growing up, football was all weight ball. I was always overweight for my age, always bigger than most kids. So what would have happened was I would have had to play up. So any program I went to, because there was no age thing, it was all weight. Any program I went to, I would have had to play probably 2, 3, sometimes even 4 years older than I was. So like at like 8, I probably was as big as a 12-year-old. So the thing is, when you're 8 years old in the mind, but physically the size of maybe a 11 or 12-year-old, depending on their size, you're just in a different developmental state. And so what happens is my dad said, nah, because he'll get out there and end up getting killed because those kids are way older, way more coordinated. They know they have a reason behind what they're doing. They've been playing football for X amount of years. No way I'm putting my kid out there to potentially be harmed in a very severe way. So didn't get to play weight ball. First time I ever played football was in 9th grade, but that's my first time, and I just wasn't used to the physicality. I can be honest about that as a grown man now. And so because of that, not being used to the physicality and things like that, I didn't play. But I say all that to say, shout out to the Darby Township Eagles. A lot of great dudes came through that program. Some Division I prospects came through that program. Y'all know who y'all are. Shout out to the program for being around for as long as it's been around and really prioritizing the youth, right? So hopefully a lot of the men that I know that came through it, y'all are starting to use a lot of the principles y'all picked up that started there at the foundation and followed you all through high school and some of y'all through college and things like that. I see some people returning from having great careers in football and they're coaching. So that's really good too, because just like somebody reached out to you and gave to you, you're turning back and doing the same thing. So that's wonderful. Speaking of that, off the top of my head, shout out to Ronell Williams, Westchester All-American, and is a coach on the Eagles. So shout out to him too from Chester, PA. Speaking of coming through, having a great career for self, but also turning back and turning that into something more. I see him on speaking engagements, things like that. And speaking of that too, shout out to Izzy. I had to shout him out because I posted a video not too long ago where I talk about how I got to meet Iverson, and I had on the Built Different shirt, the Iverson joint that came from Izzy's company, and Iverson like loved that joint. I got in the video, it shows him like really admiring it and saying like, "Yo, that's hard. I've never seen nothing like that." And he really liked the shirt, you know. So got to meet my childhood hero. I'm gonna mention that. I'm not gonna spend too much time on that. The shoe of the day is right over my head. Y'all see it. It's the Kobe 4 Protro 4, and it is the Olympic gold medal. That's the one it is. Now, he didn't wear this in 08. These came out in 09. He didn't wear these in 08 Olympics, though. He was wearing a different shoe. I could show y'all. He was wearing these. I told y'all I'm like that. He was wearing these, and I actually hoop in these, so that's why they look the way they look. These aren't like just chill shoes. These are Johns. When I do get out and hoop, I put these on. Mad comfortable. Nostalgia. I only wear these inside. I'm older now. I'm in my 30s. I just turned 35 on July 1st. I'm sorry, and I play inside. I don't do the whole outside thing. I'll shoot around outside, but I'm not playing outside. The joints just don't joint the way they used to joint. Anyway, somebody's going to clip that and make it about marijuana, but it's not. Anyway, moving on into the Olympics. We won a lot of gold, 40. We tied China for gold. I saw a little post that China thought that, this is significant when you talk about world powers in general, that this shows that they can compete. Now, I didn't read the whole article. I read a little bit into it, but hopefully those sentiments are relative only to when we talk about sports and they're talking about competing in a sport, an athletic manner. But, America has a lot of issues, but, this is where I'm from. I think when it comes to the gold, we have to kind of look at the sports where China got gold versus where we got gold. And I would go on a ledge to say, not to know that I know every single sport that was in the Olympics, but there's going to be sports that, one, is just not popular in America, enough so that we would have gold medal level or even medal level athletes in that sport. And so there's some sports where I'm like, yo, there's like none of us there. No Americans are there competing in that. So, okay, cool. We had no shot at that. So you take those. And China outperforms everybody else in those areas. Then when you look at the sports where we're in it, but they're more popular in China. So they're going to get that. But in the most popular sports in the world, we're right up there. So if we were to really take this, and maybe I'll do this and do a little short video for social media, and really kind of isolate it down to the most popular sports and see who had the most gold in those, we probably would see we watched them in that too. But neither here or there. Shout out to China for tying us on gold, but we watched all overall. So the other thing I want to say about the Olympics that's amazing that I don't think was something that I had my mind on, I think it's just being in America, that mindset you have is like first. It's kind of like Talladega Nights when he goes, if you ain't first, you're last, But then the dude follows up and says, well, wait, there's second and third place. Like, there's other positions, right? So this Olympics, I think I was more aware of the fact that getting a medal is a big deal. Not just getting gold, but even getting bronze or silver is a big deal, because what that is saying is that you are top 3 in the world in that particular sport. So that's not anything to kind of slouch at. Like, the third best person in that sport is watching me in that sport, even if I did train for a whole year, right? They're the third best. I wouldn't become the third best person in any sport from training in a year. But what I'm saying is, us commoners look and we go, well, yeah, they didn't get gold. And it's like, we sitting on the couch right now, eating chips, drinking soda, yelling at the screen saying, ha, you ain't get gold, but they got bronze or they got silver, right? So I think this year, more than ever, I noticed, one, that more people notice that medaling is a big deal. But for me, I was like, wait a minute, just getting a medal, just getting in the 8, when you think about that, right? You're top 10 in the world when it comes to that particular event. I mean, nobody that's sitting at home watching you, unless they're a person who could have been in a position but they were injured, which is probably not that many people. Nobody at home watching those players, those athletes, can say, "Oh man, you all didn't get a medal." It's like, wait, you all didn't make it to the Olympics. Oh wait, you all never even went to World. Oh wait, you guys got cut from your varsity team. Taking it back, jumped over college. You didn't even go to college to do this, right? So just medaling. So I want to say shout out to all the medalists, period, whether you're from America or another country. Shout out to all of the athletes that got to compete for a medal. As much as we might have had fun talking about somebody went in last, and we were joking, we talking about the fluke Italian runner who never defended, in between the last Olympics and now, he never defended his, being the fastest in the world. Everything was, he's injured. He's not ready. He ain't been the same since this. He ain't been, and maybe all those things are true. And we called him the fluke, right? Michael Johnson says that, I believe, on that show Sprint. I got to watch it. I got to sit down and watch that. And they're going to release some more now that the Olympics are over officially. But even he said it, like, the word that's been thrown out there. Now, he wasn't saying it from his perspective because he's a runner. So his thing is just like, it just never happened before. You don't win gold at the Olympics and then don't defend it at any point in the 4 years between the time you won it and the next time you won it. Unless you are retiring. Unless you have retired from all world games, period. And that's not what the case was because he ran in this Olympics, but he didn't defend in between. So I see that to say, even me saying that and joking and saying, man, it was a fluke. He came in fifth. He was in fifth place this year in the 100. Noah Lyles won that. Shout out to Noah. I know he didn't win the 200, but he got a bronze. And apparently he had COVID. Some people say they don't think so. People missed the story saying that he was that he had tested positive 2 days prior to the final. He had tested positive. That's the story I read. Now, maybe what I read was wrong, but I read he had tested positive 2 days prior. I don't know what the protocol was. I don't know why he was still able to run. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point is he won the 100, which wasn't his thing, and then he got bronze in the 200. Something seemed off. Now, I know people are saying, man, he ran and jumped out of there, was celebrating, or not celebrating, but like grandstanding, coming out and doing this big theatrical like introduction, and then he goes to try to run that. I don't care. I'm not jacking the fact that y'all think that him doing that was going to take away from his ability to run if he wasn't sick. I do think something was off because there's no way he finishes the way he finished. Right? So I do think something was off, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? All I can know is they reported he had COVID. And that's all we know. And so if we're honest with ourselves, that's all we can go off of. We can speculate. We can say he faked it. We can say, oh, of course he got COVID because he lost. He didn't get gold. But he's still medal. He's still top 3 in the 200 meter this year right now until the next World, and we'll see on the next World Games. We'll see the World Championship, I believe it is. We'll see where he is, right? We'll see if him getting bronze was a fluke. Maybe he gets gold in the World Games and we realize like, oh, something really was up. And we know it wasn't the confidence thing because he had that. He maintained that. He sustained that the whole time he was there. So something was up, whether it was COVID or not, we'll find out. I'm pretty sure they were doing Sprint, and that's that show. I believe it's on Netflix. It's either on Netflix or it's on Hulu. But they were doing Sprint. I'm sure we'll find out the real deal soon. I'm sure we'll see if he was positive for COVID. I'm almost certain, unless they really kept it under wraps and they pushed out all cameras and didn't have any reporting on it from a video, audio standpoint. If they did follow him the way they were following him in the beginning before the Olympics, leading up to the Olympics, I'm sure we'll see it, right? It'll all come out. And so again, to kind of move into some other, to kind of shout out, rifle off some other winners of gold. And like I said again, all medalists are exceptional athletes. I'm focusing on the gold because that is the top. That is what all athletes are chasing, is the gold. Getting silver and bronze is still a huge feat. But women's soccer, gold. Women's basketball, gold. Cycling, gold. 4x400, gold. All these are gold. 4x400 men and women. 100 hurdles. 100 is crazy. But 100-meter hurdles, Masai Russell, gold. Then you got the 4x100, gold. Sha'Carri, let me just stop there real quick. Sha'Carri was amazing. The handoff was rough. She was a bit behind. She caught up and she cooked them. And the way she looked over is such an iconic look over. You know what I mean? Like, she's flying, looks over to see that she's ahead, looks back, it almost explodes across the finish line. I could watch that over and over again because it was such a display of elegance. It's such a display of grace, but power at the same time. And she is electrifying. Like, if you want to get hyped up, watch a video of her running and watch how she closes and finishes out. This one that I really love, and I might have to do like a little silent loop of it, but she kind of like does this across the face thing and then like almost like flicks off the sweat. Like, I guess that's what she was doing. But it's an amazing thing to watch her because she's creative. She is herself. She's authentic. A lot of y'all hated on her, especially my black folk. Y'all hated on her. I don't care what y'all call it. Y'all could kind of say, well, we were just saying we want rule following and all that kind of stuff. Whatever. Y'all hated on her. Y'all said all this crazy stuff. Y'all wanted to see her fail because she broke a rule the last Olympics with the marijuana being in her system and being tested positive for it. Y'all wanted to see her fail, and y'all counted her out because she doesn't fit the bill when it comes to professionalism and what they say professionalism is, which is bathed in Eurocentric culture anyway. But that's a whole nother conversation. Y'all wanted to see her fail because she didn't speak the way you thought someone of her stature should be speaking. Y'all wanted to see her fail because she smoked marijuana. Y'all wanted to see her fail because she was very confident or is very confident. And it's crazy, right? This is a beautiful, smart, super athletically gifted woman who I want to see do well. And I'm mad that this was her debut. Now, this is the way it was written. You know what I mean? God had it set out to be this way. And so, that was the plan. And she took it in stride. She took accountability for what happened before. She didn't blame anybody. She just said what it is, what it was, why. And she was able to come back and do what it is that she set out to do. Now, she didn't get to compete she didn't qualify to compete in the 200. But, and she got silver in the 100, but there was a lot that happened in the semis and stuff can really throw. If you're an athlete, if you've been an athlete at any level, you know that things can really throw you off. And when you're in a situation where like track and field is not a game, and what I mean by that is soccer is a game. There's a long time for you to correct some of the mistakes that you have throughout the course of a game, right? There's a long time for you to get in the rhythm, of course, out of rhythm, but back in the rhythm. Basketball, football, all games that you have opportunities and time to correct things and to make adjustments to come back in. Track and field is different. You have an event, right? If you run the 100, 200, I don't care what the 400, you run a relay, you have that particular event to do well in. If you mess up, like we saw, there was a mess up on the handoff with the 4x100, and Sha'Carri made up for it by flying the way she flew. But stuff like that doesn't always go that way. Sometimes when you mess up like that in those situations, it's over. You might get third, or you might not medal at all. But because she was such an exceptional, or I said was, but is such an exceptional athlete, she was able to recover from that and bounce back. Of course, you got Simone Biles and the team, the gymnastics team, Jordan Childs and Sunny Lee or Suni Lee. They got gold, and Simone won gold, and our swimmers got gold. I'm not going to name everybody's individual names. I'm just naming some of the people who stick out to me, some of the people who I really like and really tap in and tune into. But, we have men's 1500, American gold. We got the wrestler. I'm going to say the wrestler. I didn't watch, but we have, I believe it's Amit Allure. She won gold. So, these are our people, some of our people. We got, like I said, there's 40 gold medals for America. We got golf. Scotty Scheffler, gold. Stuff that I didn't pay attention to. I'm not going to lie to you. Like I said, I didn't pay attention to everything. But, it just got to shout it out. Some of the stuff I didn't watch, I want to shout it out. But anyway, to move on to another topic from the Olympics, I want to talk about the controversy where they were calling, I believe the woman's name is Iman. They were saying that she was a man, right? She hit the Italian boxer. The woman drops, and I think in like 40 seconds she like dropped out of the match, right? She didn't want to box anymore, and that started the onslaught online of people who are, quite frankly, transphobic, and quite frankly, to me, on top of that, hate women. So you're transphobic and you hate women at the same time. That started the onslaught of misinformation about whether she was a man or a woman, and many people saying she's a man, and it's because this other boxing federation disqualified her. But there was a dubious history with that as well. Won't go into that. My whole thing is this. I've seen a lot of you jumping out the window to post in favor of people who are espousing hatred towards this woman. And what y'all don't understand is, if you just stop for 1 second, this is a lesson. And one, leave people alone. That's one thing. Two, stop thinking that ideologies within America are all over the world. Are they in other places? Yes, maybe. But stop taking what y'all think is a hot topic in America and making it a hot topic in every other country across the world. Because that's not the case. It's not. The other thing I want to say is, don't be so amped to jump out and be a part of the group of people who are first to report on something, to say something, to put an idea out there. Rather, wait a minute, wait a second. I know you won't be in the wave. Like right now, I'm talking about it right now, right? I'm late. This is probably 3 weeks almost that this happened, 3 weeks ago, right? Because this happened before I went on vacation. So we're almost at 3 weeks, at least 2.5 weeks ago. I'm talking about it now. You want to know why? Because for the most part, I don't want to be first to put something out there. Because when you're first, it's likely that you don't have enough information to be correct. So rather than be first, I'd rather be correct. The dust is settled. The IOC has spoken out. She is now won gold. Shout out to her. Shout out to Algeria. Representing her nation and all that. She has now won gold and has spoken out and how that has affected her in a negative manner. So now I'm talking about it because the information is out there. And some of y'all I still see people commenting saying that she's a man. And she has said that she is not a man. She was born a woman, lived as a woman, and is competing and has competed as a woman. The IOC has backed that sentiment up. So for you to still double down, triple down, quadruple down on this is crazy. But I want to address this. For all of you who listen, be correct. Don't be first. Because first is likely incorrect, or is likely missing information. Therefore, you can only give misinformation because you don't have it all together. That was crazy for me to see because so many people jumped on it, and all they had to do was do a quick, and this is where we kind of take the shout out to Algeria back in certain cases, because I do believe that all humans, no matter what, have rights. If you do a quick research of Algeria, you will see that literally, at least from a public standpoint, but I would say once, from just a general standpoint, being a part of the LGBTQ is prohibited in Algeria. So for you to think that a nation that has legislation, that has policy against the LGBTQ and acts of affection between two individuals who are part of that community, and public display of, an outward display of being a part of that community, a country that has laws like that would you think that they would send a trans individual to compete and represent their country? That doesn't make sense. That's why we got to stop sometimes, think, breathe. Breathing is free. Sometimes just a couple deep breaths will help you avoid these kind of things. And I mean, people I know, at least know from being, whether it be from the community, school, whatever, I saw people jumping out the window. See, this is why we got to stop all this nonsense with the trans stuff, because you got men competing with women and men going to women's bathrooms, and y'all went into a whole thing that is part of the battle that's happening in our nation, and didn't even think like, well, you know what? Let me look up Algeria really quick, because y'all don't think critically. That's the problem. Y'all need to start thinking critically, and stop. I'm not perfect. There's certain things I might jump out a window for, but my ethic is to be a critical thinker and to really stop and say, you know what? Does this seem like full information on this situation? Right? And so let me just use it on a smaller scale, because this was something larger. And the thing is, some of y'all are going to say, why are you harping on this? Because that person don't know you. These people don't know you. Da, da, da. Let's bring it down to a smaller scale. For me, if I'm talking about a subject and it pertains to other people as well, for me, I always like to say, I feel this way, or this is how I perceive this. This is how I view this. I don't know what their intention was. I'm using this as an example. I'm not going to jump out the window and say, well, yeah, because they want to do such and such and such and such, unless that person said directly to me and other people that their intention was bad or whatever it was, like everybody else heard it, or somebody said to them, hey, if you say that, then it's going to harm them or me or whatever. And that person says, I don't care, I'm going to do. Now we could talk about it like, well, they literally said they don't care, right? So the thing is, when that came out, I'm not even mad that people felt a certain way, because you got certain information. But you got to understand, information is always controlled by somebody that has the upper hand and is presented. Whoever controls the narrative and presents it, they control how everything gets spun. So you got information that was wrong. Now, you didn't mean necessarily to be wrong, but you also didn't follow up and say, you know what, let me make sure this is correct. And this is not just to the people I'm talking about that I saw on social media that I know or whatever. This is just in general in our world. You jumped out a window on a topic that is a hot topic in America, a topic that is, is polarizing. And the problem with that is it's not the same everywhere in the world. And you would have learned, like I said, that Algeria just would not send a trans person to represent their nation because they're against LGBTQ. You can literally look up the laws and stuff in their nation, and you'll see that that's the case. And it would just make you go, oh man, that just wouldn't have made sense anyway. at all, right? If we're talking about another nation that is accepting, that allows people who are part of the LGBTQ to be and to have rights, okay, maybe there is some merit to it, but there still might not be merit to it. The other thing stemming off that, and I'm going to kind of move on from the Olympics and things like that, but I wanted to end on that, is like, get the right information. That was disappointing on many levels to see people jump out the window, but it gave me a deeper understanding of a lot of people. Like, oh, y'all have y'all fixed ideas. So when information that comes out and supports that, or is the reason for that, it comes out, you're going to just jump right on it. You're not going to look into it because it's confirmation bias. So it's like, see, I told y'all, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is where it all where it all comes from, is the fact that this is being okayed, and now we got men who are turning into women to compete into women's sports and it just confirms your bias. And that's really what it is. Confirmation bias. Look it up, understand it, and realize that a lot of what you're doing is based off of that. I try to make sure that I recognize my confirmation bias. We all have it. We all have it. Some of us bury it in what we say is morals and values, and we try to say what is right and wrong. And so we say, no, I'm just right? It's not a confirmation bias thing. It's just all that new age stuff, all that, that's why, they're attacking critical race theory, which is just a lens. Again, I don't want to go off and deviate too far, but critical race theory is just a lens to look at racism in America. That's literally what critical race theory is. It's a lens. It's a way to view something. It's a different way of viewing something. We've been taught through a lens in the American education system, public education system. We've been taught through a lens. The way they've manipulated and manicured history in favor of America. Everything's in favor of America. The way that they've done that is teaching us through a lens. It's just been the dominant lens. So because of that, when you hear critical race theory and you hear how people who would love us to keep teaching under the same traditional classic lens that we've taught under, which is literally what I always say, is that one thing America outpaces the world in is marketing of self, and marketing of self as in the nation. That's what America outpaces the world in. But it's right now we're in an information era. This was easy to do when information was got by going to a library and combing through index and finding books and things like that. It was easy to do it then. Now everything comes at you so rapidly. We can look at news cycles from other nations and see the residual effect of how America is interacting with the world. So because of that, it's harder to keep the veil up. America is no different than the Wizard of Oz when I look at it. And when I say America, I'm talking about the elites who control America are no different than the Wizard of Oz. They've been able to keep the veil of this America the Beautiful up for so long. But eventually, because of the information era being like the yellow brick road, we've arrived to where the veil hangs, and we've been able to kind of get behind and see what's really going on. But that's another discussion for another time, and that'll be an ongoing discussion. But America has outpaced people in that regard. Moving on, I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that are happening during the campaign. So we have Trump. Trump goes to sit down with the NAJB, I believe it is. BJ, I'm sorry. NABJ. What's it? The National Association of Black Journalists. And he attacks the woman for asking him a question, a direct question about his challenge of Kamala Harris's ethnic background and racial makeup or whatever. And some of the other just distasteful things that Trump is known for saying. And some of the stuff that Trump says has been funny, but shout out to Bro Talk Live. I watched a little bit, commented, engaged last night live. I believe they're on every Tuesday at like 10 p.m. So after you got children, you put the children down. Shout out to Dex, and Fatima. Salute to y'all. Baby on the way. Happy for y'all. Because y'all are such a wonderful couple. and y'all are wonderful people. I love Dex, man. Dex, that's my brother right there. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what he say, but that's my brother right there. I love Dex. I love how Dex shows us how we should love ourselves. To that example, Dex, I'm talking directly to you. I think it's important because you loving yourself allows you to openly love the people around you. So you don't understand, like, I just have not heard a negative word about you, right? I'm sure there's somebody that could probably say something. We all have one person or a few people who might feel away. But for the most part, when I've been around the people that you know that I didn't know, people have had nothing but positive things to say about you. And part of it is because you think positively about yourself. And so from you, I'm learning that you have to be a person who loves yourself. Because if not, it'll be hard for you to love other people. And the reason why I think people speak so highly of you and will show up to a party where, I'm talking about your birthday party, where you are, the man of the hour. It's your birthday, but I mean, like, it's like an award ceremony. I think the reason why people will show up to something like that, or I would say this, if you weren't a good man, people would not show up to something like that. Dex loves himself, and it's an example to all of us that when you love yourself, you leave yourself, you give yourself the opportunity to be able to love others. And that's what I see in you, my brother. I'm happy for y'all to be having a child. And listen, Bro Talk Live, I believe it comes on live 10:05 or something like that on Tuesdays. I tune in when I can. I tune in and out. This week I was a little more engaged than I have been in a while, but it's a show I enjoy. Anyway, on to the next thing. I want to talk about Kamala standing on business, right? So she's speaking at a rally in Detroit, and I believe before this she had met with the what is it called? Is it the Undecided? It's a group who's pro-Palestine and was calling for a ceasefire and for freedom of Palestine. And she met with them, and I guess she said a lot of good things as far as her stance and what she was fighting for. But there were some protesters that I'm assuming weren't a part of that meeting, and I'm looking it up now, weren't a part of that meeting, because that's a group, that's a legit group. And so, it's the Uncommitted. So the Uncommitted. And so she met with the group. She said a lot of great things. A lot of them were satisfied with what she said, but then there was a group at the rally in Detroit who still wanted to, they protested. They were talking about basically, we're not going to vote for genocide. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have a clear plan on how you're going to approach Gaza and what's going on in Gaza. And so they decided to protest. So she let it go on, and she kept going, but it kept going. Then those who were kind of over it and didn't want to hear it were trying to overpower them with their own noise. So they were trying to shut that protest down. So finally, I guess she had enough. So she stops.
You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that. Otherwise, I'm speaking.
So you see, she does this glare, right? And so one of the most disheartening parts about this is that black people got on this and said, now do y'all believe she's black? And they were so proud of that would be associated with being a black woman, right? And that's disheartening, because why does standing on, I'm going to say standing on business, why does that have to be what it is that shows that she's black? Why can't it be, just that she went to Howard? Why can't it be that she's intelligent? Why can't it be that she's resourceful? Why does it have to be the attitude and the eye glare, the eye roll, the neck rolling and all that stuff? Why does that have to be, now do y'all believe she's black? None of the positive things that we talk about are associated with her being black. But this moment, oh, I saw black mama all over that. It's like, first of all, she wasn't raised by a black mom. So so to think that she got black mama in her, I mean, you could say she got black mama in her just because she's black and Indian. But again, I mean, I haven't seen her say that she was black. And here we go. I done entered into this. What I will say is this. Black is a race, right? We know that. White is a race. Where I grew up at, most of the white people knew where they came from. So they had Irish pride, Italian. I think I said this before. They had specific pride in a nation and an ethnicity. They didn't say like white. Now, some people, they do. They, I'm white. I'm this, I'm that, But for the people that really like lean on being white, that's a whole different energy. Most of the people I knew, they had Italian pride, German pride, Irish pride, Spanish, like Spaniard pride, specifics. Not, I'm from, my family's from Scotland, my family's from the Netherlands, whatever. They had specific nations and ethnicities that they would have pride in. They didn't say black. They didn't say white. They didn't say anything. They said their nation and their ethnicity, right? With Kamala, she's Jamaican and Indian. That's very specific. Jamaicans don't always, now if they grew up around a lot of black people in the black community, they may consider themselves to be black. Jamaicans are Jamaicans though. They're a Jamaican. They would say I'm a Jamaican, right? They wouldn't say like I'm a black man unless they grew up in a black community and understood what it meant to be black in America and all that kind of stuff. They would say specifically, I'm Jamaican. And they would know like, oh, I speak patois and all that kind of stuff. It'd be very specific. I have a friend. I believe my friend is Ghanaian and Haitian. He'll correct me because he'll know what I'm talking about. He said, I feel just as much, did I say Ghanaian? No, I meant Guyanese. That's what I meant. I believe that's how you say it. So he said it's Guyanese and Haitian is what he is. He said in our group chat, and I thought this was a really good thing, was I feel just as much Guyanese as I do Haitian. And so when people try to make me pick, like one of his parents is Guyanese, his other parent is Haitian. So why do I have to pick, right? So he didn't say I feel just as much black as I feel American or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like those two things can be kind of lumped into being black. But again, you got Guyanese, Haitian. That's two ethnic backgrounds, two national backgrounds, right? You could say, those are part of the diaspora if you want to, but just keeping it simple. She's Jamaican and Indian. So while I've never heard her say I'm black, I've never heard it. Somebody can respond to me, send me a video or whatever that she says that. I've never heard it. It makes sense because she knows that she's Jamaican and she knows that she's Indian. So she wouldn't have a context to say I'm black because she's always been told, no, you're Jamaican and you're Indian. That's just been a part of it. Just like my friends who know that they're Irish. Some of them are Irish and Italian. As much as we know in America, the history of Irish and Italians not really liking each other. But if you saw The Godfather with Michael, his wife was Irish. Tom, Irish, right? But they took him in. So, there's this kind of like murky past of not liking each other. But, when you're around the same communities and stuff like that, eventually somebody's going to be like, oh, they're not that bad. But, and be cool. So, and this is the reason why, never mind. That's another conversation. I'm going to stop that. But what I'm going to say is, So while I've never heard her say that, it makes sense that she wouldn't say that. But to take this moment where she's shutting down a protester, and I get it, it's supposed to be a sign of power because people look at Trump as this kind of power-wielding, iron fist, being able to, kind of just stand in the face of people who think they're powerful and let them know that they don't have any leverage in this type of situation. While that is, maybe some merit to it to kind of show that, because they got, like, from my knowledge, they have a debate coming up in September. So it could be her trying to show, like, he's not going to bulldog me. So if y'all thought he was going to bulldog me, I'm letting y'all know now because I'm not letting them bulldog me. She did kind of clean it up, and I love Bro Talk Live showed that. She cleaned it up a little later in a different rally where she kind of talks about it a little more extensively and talks about, her push for ceasefire and all that kind of stuff, which neither here or there. I'm not here to really kind of go deep into that because politics is crazy. One of the things that I want to say is I'm a firm believer that America has also created a system, a political system that gives us a political and a cultural system that gives us the illusion of culture. And I want y'all to listen to this video really quick. Yep. So a lot of what I think is that, right? I think we have the illusion of choice in things that really are of little consequence. So like you mentioned, like there's like, 23 flavors, 23 different types of bagels you could choose, or Baskin Robbins with the 32 flavors, Ben and Jerry's with all the different combinations of stuff that they have that you could choose. There's so many choices around us, but they're of little consequence. Now, some of those things can be of consequence to your health, but that's neither here or there. What I'm talking about is like choosing ice cream flavors is not a huge there's no consequence behind it. Choosing bagel flavor or choosing what restaurant we want to go to. We got a plethora at different levels. So you got your fast food chains, you got your elevated dining, you got your snacky stuff, you got your full course, 4 or 5 course meal type stuff. You got buffets, you got so many choices. Sneakers, I'm a sneakerhead. So you see just right here in this episode that I showed you, up top and on display, one choice. Then I showed you the shoe that Kobe was actually wearing in the Olympics, right, in 2008. So we have this illusion of choice, and I got a closet full of sneakers that I can see from right now, right in front of me, and sneakers over here and over there and all over the place. My wife's probably sick of the sneakers, but my point is choice after choice after choice after choice. So it, like I said, with that's even part of the marketing of America. This is the land of abundance. This is the land of this. But when we get down to it, like they said in the video, you got 2 parties. You got monopolies when it comes to, and this video is old. This is kind of like a foreshadow video of what's actually happening right now. Like at that point, he said there used to be 7 oil companies. It was down to 3, and it'll probably be 2 soon. 2 parties. Everything is limited when it comes to like our actual like human rights, when it comes to our quality of life in reality. So we get tricked into believing like I'm sitting here, I got an iPad, I have this Rodecaster, I have this mic, I have this computer, I have a laptop that I'm actually filming this on and recording this on. I got AirPods. So when you have stuff like this, it's easy to get into the mindset, right? It's easy to get into the mindset that, I have this like abundance, right? America, the place of abundance and lavish living. But I can tell you, a lot of even immigrants, they come here because things are a little more accessible when it comes to elevating your life. But I work with some immigrants, first generation students and things like that. And one of the things that some of them have said to me is that they want to go back home, right? So some people think people are just flocking and they want to come here. They want to stay here. This is the best place in the world. But in reality, it's just that compared to where they are, some of the access. Like I had a student that was from a country where it was more expensive to go to college. It was more exclusive in nature. So she's here. She's like, yeah, my parents brought me here because I would have a greater opportunity. So they're just more competitive there. Like now, like I remember my pastor telling us, like when we were in high school, like, yeah, it's different for y'all because y'all are competing across the world for jobs. Y'all are competing across the world for opportunities to go to the top colleges and stuff like that. He told us that was several years ago. I was in high school. And now we look forward now is like everything is like outsourced, right? And in most companies, big companies, they get their stuff created, produced, whatever in other countries because it's cheaper. They bring it here. They outsource their customer service. You talk to somebody that you can't even barely understand because their accent is so different than what you're used to hearing on a daily basis. It's cheaper. So we have been competing on a global level, and it's not just college level jobs. Some of it is, like I said, customer service used to be a call center in America. Like you could work at a call center, but because they can do it for cheaper, you end up talking to somebody that really don't know anything about the product or the service you're inquiring about. But you're going into that. But I say all that to say, Kamala really, I think she has to be careful. And I think we need, and like that video was saying, it's this illusion of choice. And right now, we've been so fixated on the last 8 years of choosing the lesser of two evils. Even though we've always done that, I think in America, we've always chosen the lesser of evils. Maybe not just two evils, but there's always been this undercurrent of you got to pick, the person who's going to hurt you the least, right? They're going to hurt you, but pick the one that's not going to hurt you as bad in this situation. So we've always had that present. And I think it's time, and maybe this is a correction season where we're kind of awakening to the reality of how things have been. And we are looking to change that reality to make this a true democracy where all people get a say and all people get to chime in on how things go, and that there aren't the few elites that get to run everything like this nation has been run. And maybe we'll get to being a true democracy in that case. And we need to evaluate our economic system because people have always championed capitalism, and that has been the operating or economy. And look where we are now, right? You have companies, and stop blaming presidents for inflation, right? I mean, maybe they have some effect on it based on policies that they roll out. But again, those policies have to be put through the House and the Senate and all that kind of stuff. So maybe they have some impact on it. But let's be honest. Even the CEOs, owners of companies, the rich elite who run these companies and own these companies and the boards and all that stuff, they have control over all of this. And it's easy to let us as the people focus on a president who doesn't have more power than the checks and balances technically, unless you're Donald Trump because he's going to be a dictator. But historically, there's checks and balances. A president doesn't just roll out executive orders. They don't. Not on a large scale and not with really important issues. So let's be real here and look at the CEOs that run these companies who act like they're giving us more. Shout out to who y'all are. We know who y'all are. When in reality, y'all are just taking more from us. All of them, all of the top companies that you can think of that sell products, like physical products in hand, take more from the customer than they give. It's just an illusion. This is why they have these events. I see Disney just had D23 and they announced all this stuff. right? It's the same thing these other physical product companies do. They have these events, they roll out this stuff, and they say, oh my goodness, the next thing is here. Oh my goodness, welcome to the future. This is what you'll be able to do. And if you really think about life, do you get, I'm going to just use what I got, this tablet in my hand. I ain't going to say their name because I don't want no whatever. Not yet. I'm only 10 episodes in. I don't want no cease and desist. They're going to say, dear certified yapper, keep my name out your mouth. But these companies that have these little, oh, we got the new thing, and da-da-da, then you get it, and you realize, like, yo, it's been the same thing for the last 10 years. They just gave us a little bit of a new package. It might be like smooth edges now instead of sharp edges. They gave us a little more capacity, new chip in there. But overall, one, I only use it for certain things. If it wasn't for me filming this podcast, my phone, like, I don't use it to the fullest capacity. But because I'm using it for this podcast, and the hope is that at some point I could become monetized in some way, shape, or form where all of this kind of pays for it. So I'm using my phone right now. I'm not investing in the cameras yet because I want to do it here. Simple. This is a pretty simple layout, right? Got my mic, got my roadcaster, got my phone. I got a computer for, like I was just doing, looking up stuff, making sure I was saying stuff the right way. Things like that, make sure I got the right information, got stuff pulled up already, stuff that I could look at. Being able to do that with that, had my laptop that I had that I actually got that for school, right? And that still got Apple Care on it because they let you re-up on Apple Care. That's the other thing I want y'all to get: Apple Care, get all these insurances, right? Because if something go wrong, you could at least replace it. You can get it fixed or get it replaced, right? Keep that stuff on Apple Care. That's what I used to tell my pop. My pop was one of them people that would just buy a TV and never put any kind of insurance on it. I started getting him putting insurance on it. I'm like, the TV, like, if they can't fix it, they'll give you a whole new one, like Geek Squad and all that stuff. So that's just a little plug. Be smart. This stuff costs too much money. You don't want to keep just buying stuff. I know some of y'all get money. I know y'all get the bag, and y'all just, I get the bag. I ain't worried about no insurance. I'm going to just replace it. I get it. Get that insurance. Save you some money. It ain't about getting money. It's about keeping it. That's a little tidbit for the day. But anyway, we got to wake up from this. I'm not even going deep into the election stuff. It was just that moment I wanted to highlight. And then also the idea that we just are given the illusion of choice because they give us so much variety when it comes to stuff that's inconsequential. But I didn't like the initial way that Kamala handled it. The explanation kind of smoothed it over a bit for me. But in reality, if that's going to be her display throughout this campaign, that just doesn't sit well with me because she is too qualified for this position to have to stoop to Trump level antics to win people over. Now, I understand she might have to do a little bit, and I get it, so I'll just bear with her. But in reality, I saw somebody post that she was inept, and I laugh because it's funny to call someone inept that is literally, one, educated to be in the realm of law and policy, and two, has had a political career, versus the person who you support for one issue. And that issue is anti-abortion. You stand on anti-abortion so much that because you think that she's just for wanton abortion, you're going to call her inept for that one issue. When she really does is probably, since Obama, she might be the most qualified to be in that position. Biden was pretty qualified too based on his track record. The problem is this: you conservative evangelical Christians don't know how to actually say what you mean. What you mean is You're tired of people who are qualified for the position because those people tend to think in nuance. Those people tend to be critical thinkers. And when you're a critical thinker, you don't get up to be a politician in any facet, whether it's local, state, or federal. You don't get up to be a politician and think, well, what I believe personally is how I'm going to lead as a politician or how I'm going to advocate for policy as a politician or legislation as a politician. You don't think that way. You say, well, wait a minute. For me, for instance, I told you I'm a follower of Christ. If I became, let's just say I become a mayor, right? I'm not going to advocate for policies or whatever it is of what's going on in the community I'm a mayor of, town I'm a mayor of. I'm not advocating based on my personal belief system, my personal opinion. I'm advocating based on the reality of what's going on, and that's going to happen by listening to the people of my community. There's going to be people who, on a fundamental level, we don't agree. The thing that I have to do, the thing that's going to help me do my job best is when I can step out of my fundamental beliefs and say, what's going on for you? What do you believe? How do you feel? How are you experiencing life in this? I'm saying I'm a mayor in this town. That's to anybody, whether they live the way I believe is the right way or whether they live a totally different way. Listen to how I'm posing that, because some people live a way that's different than what you believe is right, but they believe what they doing is right. I think about me being a follower of Christ and my Muslim brothers and sisters. They may look at me and say, you ain't doing that right. Now, I know some of the fundamental things they believe in a sense of the reality of them or the people or whatever. But from a daily practice standpoint, there's things that they don't agree with me on. There's things that I may not agree with them on. But we can have a mutual respect for one another. And if I'm the mayor of a town, I'm just as much their mayor as I am those who follow Christ and believe in God. Those who practice what we call Christianity, which just means little Christ or follower of Christ. As far as being a Christian. So I'm not just the mayor of Christians in Xville. I'm just saying Xville because I don't want to put it like a random town out there because I'm not a mayor for real. But I'm not just the mayor of Christians here. I'm the mayor of all people, whether you are a believer or whether you are when I say a believer, I'm talking about a believer in Christ, whether you're a Muslim, whether you don't believe at all. I am the mayor for all. So I have to advocate for policy and legislation in my town for all people. I have to make decisions that impact, that consider the impact on all people and look to do right by all the people in my town. Now, am I going to be able to make everybody happy? No. But that's just the case. So to the evangelical conservatives who are very much so into Christian nationalism, wake up, start thinking more critically, and really start to see that politics is not for one or the other. It's for all. So we cannot advocate for people who are going to get a position and only make Christians happy, because you're leaving out whole groups of people who fall outside of that. And that's just the reality. Talk about Trump really quick. Like I said, sat with the NABJ. It was an attack fest. He felt like he was attacked, so that he attacked and said that her opening line of questioning was very nasty and all that kind of stuff. And, I used to think, and I think I started to talk about this a little earlier in the episode, I used to think Trump was funny. So that was at least like, okay, he's entertaining. As much as he's egregious, he's entertaining. You know what I'm saying? So he's E&E for me. He's egregious, but entertaining. So I'll laugh at him and his blunders. and his snowman son, and how his daughter disappeared, who he's very infatuated with, has disappeared from the spotlight, and her husband and all that kind of faded to black. They kind of did the Homer and the Bush thing. And I don't know if that's because they want to have an opportunity or a shot at politics in some way, shape, or form. So they want to kind of like distance themselves publicly, so that you don't continue to just like, you're going to know that's his daughter. But it's kind of like I don't want to keep putting myself next to him, because I want to be able to like stand on my own if I do decide to come out and do something. I don't know if that's the case, or if is that what they were going to do. But what I will say is, yeah, he was funny, but he's not so much more. Once he did that video where he was urging Christians to vote, and just, oh, Christians, I'm not a Christian. He said it, I'm not a Christian. So there you go, right there. He's not a Christian. And I know somebody's gonna say that was a slip. It was a Freudian slip. He's about the almighty dollar. Don't get it twisted, y'all. He's about the almighty dollar. But he goes, I'm not a Christian. Then he goes, just get out and vote one last time, and I'm gonna fix this thing up so good you won't have to do it again. What does that mean before he's already said that he would be a dictator? He's already said that. Even though he tried to say, well, it'd just be for the one day so I can get some things done. Then I'll get back on to like how things are supposed to be as far as me being in the role. No. When somebody tells you who they are, believe them. When somebody tells you what they want to do, believe them. Whether they can get it done or not. This is where their heart and their mind is. So believe them the first time. Do not try to explain it away like you have. A lot of you all supporters have tried to explain it away and tried to say he didn't mean that. And he doubled down after that whole rally moment where he's telling Christians to vote for just the last time. He's going to fix it up nice, so this is the last time. He doubled down on that. He didn't say, oh, I misspoke. I didn't mean that. Even if he did, I wouldn't have believed it. But, and I know some of y'all gonna be like, yeah, he just said right there, anything Trump says, he's like, that's positive or that he messed up on, he won't believe it. Whatever. All I'm saying is he didn't. He doubled down. He said, no, I meant what I said. The reporter asked, like, no, can you let the people know like what you meant? And basically, we know that's not what you meant. Like, could you explain that so that people can know, like, you're not talking about being a dictator. You know, like, she was trying to get him to like clean it up. He said, no, I said what I said. That's a paraphrase. But he said, I said what I said. We keeping it simple here. You feel me? He said, I said what I said. He doubled down on it, and he went from there. So it's not funny anymore. It's sad that there's a lot of people who subscribe to this. You're so wrapped up in the fear mongering. You're so wrapped up in this idea that America has been at its worst in the history of America. It's been at its worst as a nation. You're so wrapped up in these like false flags that you just don't see the fact that you are getting behind and supporting somebody who is looking to do all of the worst things that you could ever dream of when it comes to America and just the way we do politics here, the way the government is supposed to run here. And so for me, it's a no when it comes to Trump. I'm not a pro-Trump dude. I'm not even, as much as I talk about how, some of the stuff Kamala does and says concerns me and how I'm not fully on board there. I just want to make it clear I'm not a pro-Trump dude. I don't see what y'all see. I'm a grown man, so I don't need you to say, well, you need to go do your research on how he helped the economy and how he black people. I am a grown black man. I was in this nation. Y'all think I was just born. Like, I was just, like, the way you're talking, the way you talk to some other grown black, I'm a grown black educated man who was alive and well during Trump's run as president from 2016 to 2020. I saw everything. I felt everything. So for you to say, well, you need to do your research and you're just da-da-da-da, I don't have to go do research about nothing. I can tell you what I witnessed and experienced personally, firsthand. Y'all doing research and stuff and you're only confirming the bias. That's the word of the day, confirmation bias. That's the phrase of the day, I should say. That's a better way of putting it. Confirmation bias. Y'all think y'all are researchers because y'all go confirm your bias. That's all you do is confirm your bias. So get it together and realize that what you're doing, if you want to do that, if you want to support Trump, that's fine, do that. But understand, it's not because you've done this elaborate research and found that Trump was really this is a conspiracy to just make Trump out to be this bad person. No, Trump just makes himself look like a bad person for what he does, how he talks, how he treats people, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that'll be it for this episode. Vote for who you want to vote for. That's the end of that part. And what I want to say is I look forward to 11 and on, right? I'm going to start having some guests on. I'm going to start sitting down with some people, whether that be them being here in person, me going to them, or virtually. So we're going to start doing that. We got some other things going on. If you would like me to come speak, I do motivational speaking. I do inspirational speaking, anything like that. If you would like me to come speak, whether it be at a college, whatever it may be, reach out to me. Let's get this set up. I'll be willing to do it. I have a journey in school that could help. If you have students, if you see this and you have students at your college that are on academic probation, I was a student that was on academic probation. I got dismissed from the university I was at. I got an associate's degree. I went back to the university I got dismissed from. I got a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. So I can come and talk with those students. I can come and do Q&A with those students on how to get back on track and the journey that they might need to take and how to stay motivated and encouraged when you're in those kind of situations. Let them be able to have a space where they can be uplifted and encouraged and talk to somebody who is what they would deem successful academically now, but has been right where they were at some point in time. So again, if you want that, please reach out, like, comment, share, subscribe on YouTube, write a review on Apple Music and Spotify for me. What else? Instagram, follow me, Monster Prolific. You'll see some stuff on there, Monster Prolific, and I might throw that up on the screen. But yeah, so that's it for this episode. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I look forward to coming back to y'all soon.
They never knew I had it. I'm in the game like Madden. Born in the 80s, but my folks were never addicts. Here to reap havoc on the industry so tragic. You think it's a joke, so now you pointing and you laughing. But it's cool, I'm free when I'm rapping. You can keep on napping. I'm living my dreams, you just living a scream. Horror movie antics, metaphor probably went past your bandwidth. If you mad, catch me in transit. But be careful, I could be Luca Anakin. So don't step to me wrong, cause my force is too strong.
You got a problem too?
I am the answer, I am the answer. Not for the banter, I am like Sanders, Diana Berry, you do not scare me.
I'm the answer, I am the answer. Not for the banter, I am like Sanders, hey, Diana Berry. Scare me.
They don't know what to do with me, no shoes fit me. They can't get a hold, I'm too slippery. Plus they too wicked deep. I'm sharp like Spears, no Britney. Rockin' till they have a problem and they call Houston, no Whitney. I know what my mark is, so why would you start this? My team too good, I feel like Carson. Like they don't need me, but I'm still the sergeant. Yeah, I am the answer, I am the answer. Not for the banter, I am like Sanders, Diana Berry, you do not scare me.
I'm the answer. I am the mentor, not for the banter. I am Nationalists, ayy. Deanna Berry, you do not scare me.